I tried. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That was a pretty lame attempt at We Won't Be Fooled Again by The Who. Note to self, don't learn a song like 8 minutes before you play it. Anyways, if you're not familiar with that song, it was kind of a 60s song, I think early 70s, late 60s. We Won't Be Fooled Again. How true that is, at least for this group, and by the way, welcome. If you're new to the group, we are studentloanjustice.org. We are the first, started in March 2005. We are the 17 years ago. We're the first, the only, in many ways, the only true grassroots group, the largest, oldest, and only true grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. We've been around for, as I said, 17 years. We're fighting very moderately for the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans for the first 15 years of our existence. Now, however, I am thrilled / sorry to tell you that the United States federal student loan system is now, for all intents and purposes, finished. It's done. It's toast. It's dead. Before the pandemic, most people weren't paying on their loans. Now here, during, and slightly, I think, after the pandemic, almost nobody's paying. And whenever they try and turn this lending scam, and it is a scam, back on, very few people will pay. Unconstitutional, viciously predatory, nationally threatening loan scam, the worst in our nation's history. I'm sorry you got caught up in it, but I'm glad you're here because we need your help. So where to begin? First of all, thank you to Lisa Ansel in Los Angeles. Thank you to Liz Maines, also from California, who stood up to be interviewed with us today here on a really good segment for Fox News Los Angeles. They'll be posting the video soon, and we will make sure that we get that up for you. Very strong segment. We should be doing these local television news shows all over the country, by the way. This whole thing would never have happened but for Lisa Ansel's drive and determination. So Lisa, hats off to you. We need your help. We're a grassroots group. We are not a watch it happen. We're not here for your entertainment, guys. We're a despite the bad piano, we are a working, fighting group. We are a collection of people, nothing more. I'm a distressed student loan borrower, just like you, more than likely. We need your help, and anybody can do what Lisa did in their own local area and call their own local news station, radio station, newspaper, and get them to do a story on the student loan problem. We stand here at the ready at Student Loan Justice, ready to assist you in your efforts. We have people all over the country, including in your town, more than likely, who have very compelling stories to tell. And we are ready and willing and able and chomping at the bit to get local news stories done on the student loan problem. So please make that happen. We're getting down towards the end here in this congressional session. We're getting down towards the end of this repayment pause as well. Everything seems to be coming to a head, ladies and gentlemen. The next 10 days are going to be crucial to see whether what Biden does as far as not only the student loan pause extension, whether he even does that at this point. I don't know, guys. I don't know. By the way, if you have any questions or comments, throw them out. I'm very happy to read them on air. I'm going to try and keep it rather short tonight, but we've got a couple of important things I need to let you know about. So what I said, make a local story happen in your local area. You can give them all of our contact info, send them to our website, studentloanjustice.org. You can give them my phone number, 202-594-1120. My name, my email, Alan, ALAN, at studentloanjustice.org. And we are ready to get very compelling stories to them that they can very easily produce. Second very important thing, something is happening, guys. As I said, we've got a bankruptcy bill, S-2598, very important bill. We're also fighting for student loan cancellation, guys. We are the first group in the nation to publicly call for the presidential cancellation of student loans by executive order. But I'm here to tell you the most important thing is bankruptcy. In other words, you are not going to get any meaningful student loan cancellation unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy returned to us as the founders called for in the Constitution. Whether you would ever or never file for bankruptcy is not important. We've got to get the right returned. So we've got a great bill we're fighting for, S-2598 in the Senate, and maybe I'll talk about that in a little bit, but there's another way on bankruptcy. The Department of Education can and must stop opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. They have committed to doing this in some way, shape, or form over the past year, like 3 times. The Education Secretary Cardona, Undersecretary Caval, and also the Chief Operations Officer of the Federal Student Loan Program, Richard Cordray, have all committed to doing this. But folks, there's a wrench in the works right now. Rumor has it, very credible rumor has it, that people at the Department of Justice are standing in the way of the Education Department stopping the practice of opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court, if that makes any sense. So we need to strongly push Attorney General Merrick Garland this week, starting tomorrow. Also, Associate Attorney General Gupta, Gupta. The first name escapes me at the moment, like Victoria or something. We need to come after Merrick Garland and Associate Gupta as strongly as possible. Remember, guys, nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. It's a terrible thing to have to do. It sucks. It's all those things. But unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy returned to us, we're not going to see any sort of meaningful student loan cancellation. So just remember that. This group right here is the reason that we're even talking about bankruptcy, both by returning bankruptcy, I should say, both by sort of executive order, if you will, which is the thing I was just talking about with Department of Justice, Department of Education, also our bankruptcy bill. This group is the reason we're talking about student loan cancellation by executive order, believe it or not. We are the group that first broached the topic in August 2019 in a seminal article in Vice News. We are the group that started the petition in March 2020, calling on then President Trump to cancel student loans by executive order, which is a very sexy wrinkle on loan cancellation, by the way. Unlike canceling stuff by Congress, which is ridiculous, it will never happen. The president can cancel all federally owned student loans. That's 87% of all student loan debt by executive order without needing one dime from the Treasury and without adding one penny to the national debt. It's by far and away the cheapest, easiest way to stimulate the economy. It can be done tomorrow. That all started here with this group. I kid you not. This group is way more important than we appear, despite the bad piano playing and the sort of, we're not. We are a true grassroots group, and I think the longer you hang with this group, the more you will appreciate that fact. We do not have a Washington, D.C. office to pay for. We don't have a staff to pay for. We don't have almost any kind of a budget per se. All we are people. That's it. That's all we are. We're just a group of people. And I think you will come to really appreciate that fact. We don't play Washington, D.C. games. We don't do any dirty deals with wealthy benefactors who have their own weird little agendas behind the scenes. We don't do any of that, guys. We're fighting only and absolutely for the people. And look how far we've come in the past 2.5, 3 years. 3 years ago, we were schlepping around Iowa, hounding all the presidential candidates. And student loan cancellation was not even a thing. I mean, some people were calling for it as an act of Congress, which is ridiculous, would never happen, will never happen. Bankruptcy was way down low on the totem pole. Well, today, student loan cancellation is it's a very prevalent topic. And I have to say, we have to give a lot of credit to Senator Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer for that, because it was like 6 months after we started our petition that they embraced the concept and started calling for it. I don't know how far we would be today if that had not happened. So we're thrilled that they did that. We're very not thrilled with how Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer kind of wrecked the concept. They slapped a $50,000 cap on the thing, and they made it into a political hot potato, into a partisan food fight, which is just nonsensical. This is not a partisan issue. By the way, whatever your political stripes are, you're very welcome on this group. We pretty much hate both parties in different ways. But whether you're Republican, Democrat, or none of the above, or libertarian, or egalitarian, or a vegetarian, you are very welcome, or a meatitarian. You're very welcome on this group. We don't, quite frankly, as I said, we're pretty much sick of both parties. They have found a way to shove our noses into the partisan cracks on this for many years, all the years that we've been doing this. So anyways, we've come a long ways. We've never been closer. And we here on this group know the right path, and we are right on the path, and we are right on the cusp, guys. You know, when we get the threat of bankruptcy back, it's a pretty direct path between that and getting actual, meaningful, not this up to 10,000 bullshit cancellation, pardon my French. So we're very close, guys, and we are going to need your help this week. In fact, if you're serious about getting this problem solved, and remember, these are your loans, this is your problem, and your livelihood hangs in the balance on what happens in the next 5 weeks. If you're serious, at a minimum, you will at least go to our website. Oh, hold on a minute. Go to our website, and we have daily actions, or see that bit.ly link right there. Yeah, right there. Bit.ly link. Right there. bit.ly/SLJ daily action. These are very important, very well thought out, very well timed, very well targeted daily actions that we do nearly every day. Sometimes I skip Saturdays. If you're serious about getting these fucking loans figured out, solved, maybe even gone totally, you would be doing our daily actions certainly for the next 5 weeks, because like I said, September 1st, the repayment thing expires. That's honestly, I find that's of secondary importance. Most important thing is early voting begins in October. So the Democrats, who have historically rare control of House, Senate, and the presidency, they're going to have to do whatever they're going to do by, I'd say, the first week in October when early voting begins. So these next 5 weeks, guys, are just absolutely critical. So if you forget everything I said tonight, remember at least that. So yeah, we're going to be hitting the Attorney General Merrick Garland and his associate very hard early on in the week. Monday morning, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Well, 8 a.m. Central Time. So let's say 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Check back on our Facebook group. Maybe check back on our Twitter, wherever you happen to be watching us. Or just go to our website and look for our daily actions, and we will make that happen. And we together will make that happen. Oh, one thing I didn't notice, one thing I didn't mention, we're a very large group. I know it doesn't look like it. We have over 1 million people on. In fact, I think we're probably the largest group of student loan borrowers in the nation. We've got over 1 million people on our petition. We've got several 100,000 people across all of our other platforms, Facebook, email, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a massive muscle to flex, ladies and gentlemen. And as long as you help us flex it, starting with those daily actions, we could have this problem solved in a matter of weeks. You know, what would happen if over 100,000 people a day were calling the White House, calling the Department of Justice, overwhelming the Twitter accounts of members of Congress, politicians, bad guys, good guys? What would happen if 100,000 people a day were doing our daily actions? Yeah, we'd be done. That's 10% of our members, guys. That's 1 out of 10. I don't think that's too much to ask. So okay, I am looking for your comments now. And by the way, we've been fooled by all the little stupid tricks out there, guys. We on this group will not be fooled again. The bad guys are out there, and they are flooding the airwaves, the zeitgeist right now with nonsense propaganda. And I'm not even including just the obvious bad guys, like the people who are like, no, don't cancel student loans. Like there are some groups out there like, yeah, cancel student loans. But really behind the scenes, they are totally against returning bankruptcy to student loans. That is a trick that has been played on us in the past, believe it or not. You know, the worst of the bad guys, the sneakiest of the bad guys, maybe I should say, they would love to foist another fake loan cancellation on us, like this $10,000 nonsense. They would love to do that as a cheap substitute for the constitutionally enshrined bankruptcy rights that should have never been taken away. Maybe that's not clear to you upon first hearing it, but please, I would beg you to just take my word for it. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. It's a terrible thing to have to do. We've got to have the threat of bankruptcy back before we're going to see any kind of meaningful, actual student loan cancellation that actually helps you. So, as I said, guys, these next 5 weeks are just so freaking critical. Okay, I'm looking for your comments now. Hope everybody's doing well out there in the world. Let me do a quick refresh here. As I said, if you're watching us on Facebook or on Twitter, very happy to respond to your questions and comments. Oh, I see we have quite a collection of comments here on Facebook. Let me just dial this in. There in the world. So as I said, we will not be fooled again, guys. You came to the right place. Whether you want your loans canceled, whether you want some middling negotiated workout like a break on interest or some whatever, whether you need to file for bankruptcy, no matter what you want to have happen with your student loans, this is the group for you to be in and for you to be helping. This is a working, fighting group. We need your help. This is not a wait, watch, and worry proposition here. This is a make it happen group. We've got to make it happen, guys. If we don't all individually pull our weight and at a minimum do these daily actions, we're going to get nothing done. We will lose. And what a tragedy that would be. Don't be the guy. Don't be that guy. Help us fight. The people whose comments I'm about to read, sorry guys, to a person, these people are all doing the hard work. I know them. I've seen them in action, and they will tell you that it feels very good to fight this fight. It's quite frankly, it's cathartic. The founding fathers are on our side, guys. 45 million people in the country, 38 million of those 45 million who are distressed on their student loans. They are on our side strongly, whether they know about us or not. And so, by the way, spread the word about this group. Would you please spread the word far and wide? Everybody you know with student loans should be on our group. And that will happen when you make it happen. Hey, are Eugenio Perez is with us tonight? He says hello. Britt Dahl says, think we will get extended. Hey, Britt, that is the $64 billion. That is the $1.7 billion question. 3 weeks ago, I would have said there's a 97% chance that Biden will extend this repayment pause. Now, here today, I'm at 50%, guys. Truly, I'm at maybe even less than that. You know, it is astonishing that they haven't announced anything on this repayment pause. And here we are 10 days left in the month. You know, in previous months and years now, they have announced the extension like a month, 2 months before the deadline. And here we are 10 days to go. I don't know, guys. I think my gut tells me that Joe Biden does not want to extend this pause. My gut tells me that Biden really doesn't even care about the midterms or something. It's like something, like maybe he's written off the midterm. I don't know. Something is going on with Joe Biden. I think he wants to turn these loans back on. Is Joe Biden crazy? I don't know what's going on through Joe Biden's mind. I know that to force people to start repaying their loans a month before early voting politically is suicidal. It's the worst thing that the Democrats could possibly do. So it defies all rationality to me that Biden would turn the loans back on. But, you know, Biden he's got a lot of baggage, ladies and gentlemen. He's never been a good guy on the student loan issue, and I could talk a while about that. At this point, I can only say that I don't know. I don't know. Quite frankly, I suspect that the people in Washington, D.C., up to and including the people in the White House, I think they don't have a clue. They don't know what to do. They have no idea. Truly, they have no idea what to do. So, and guys, remember, it's not our fault. This lending system is collapsing. It's crumbling. It's crumbling into dust, like Hercules at the temple. The whole thing is coming down, guys. Student loans in this country, federal student loans, are vanishing into a mist of illegitimacy. This lending system is broken. It's failed. It's a dead man walking. The one thing I will say is it's not your fault. We didn't break this lending system. This lending system tried to break us. I should say this loan scam tried to break us. And, guys, taking 2 steps back, it's not that big of a deal. The numbers, I know, 1.6 trillion, they sound big, but guys, this thing is all nonsense. Like, of that 1.6 trillion, my best estimate is that like 1.4 trillion of it is nonsense. It's interest, penalties, fees. It's all just fluff thrown onto the top of the loan. So, and beyond that, I will also say lending systems fail from time to time, guys. They just do. Look at subprime home mortgages. That failed lending system. Look at the S&L scandal back in the 80s. Look at all of Europe. That wasn't just lending systems that failed. That was entire countries that failed, like entire monetary systems that failed, going back as far as you want to go, back to ancient Greece and the dawn of civilization and numbers and math and currency. Lending systems have failed, and this is no different. And in the grand scheme of things, it's actually not that big of a deal. So I hope that answers your question, Britt. That was a way too long of an answer. I apologize. We have a video link for the Los Angeles news story that we did today. Lisa is now informing me. Maybe you can post it here. Maybe you already have, Lisa. That would be fantastic. Otherwise, check back on our Facebook group or check on the main page of our website, studentloanjustice.org, sometimes this evening, and I will make sure that we have it posted. And again, hats off to Lisa and Liz Maines. I thought it was a pretty strong piece. But you can see it for yourself and judge. Hey, R. Eugenio Perez says, Department of Justice standing in the way of Department of Education's way. Just makes you think about what would happen if you don't pay student loans. Yeah, you're right, R. Eugenio. I pondered that myself. Why is the Department of Justice involved in almost anything that the Department of Education does? These are student loans we're talking about here, guys. This is not like the FBI has no purview here. The Justice Department should not be involved with this at all. Why are they? It makes no sense that they should be. Now, it's kind of a longer conversation. I don't want to talk too much about it, but what's going on here? Like, the Department of Education has been all too happy to make all their own policies and implement all their own policies on their own without input from the Department of Justice for decades and decades. So why all of a sudden is justice thrown into the mix? Quite frankly, I suspect that the whole point is so they can play cover your ass and so they can point over there when they screw us. That's cynical part of me is thinking, and I'll go, yeah, we tried, not our problem, not our job. That's kind of the way Washington, D.C. works, especially with actual problems that need to be actually solved. All of a sudden, they go play cover your ass and they play the shell game and hide behind the bureaucracy, etc. And I will only say, you can hide behind all the bureaucracy that you want. And at the end of the day, voters in November are going to say to themselves, okay, the Democrats had control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency. What did they do for student loans? Well, we know they promised a lot, and many people, millions of people voted for them because they made all these promises. What did they do? What did they do for me? And if the answer, as it is right now today, is nothing, or nearly nothing, essentially nothing, then the Democrats will be eviscerated. They're in deep water on this election in the first place. It's the midterm after presidential election where they won, barely. They were going to have a tough time with this election in the first place. If they screw 38 million voting, distressed student loan borrowers, they will be absolutely annihilated. And they have to know this. They have to. How could they not? The numbers are just way too big and obvious for them not to. But that's what I'm saying, guys. I'm baffled. But just remember, guys, we won't be screwed again. Whichever way the Democrats decide to go, we're good. This lending system is failed no matter what happens in Washington, D.C. Before the pandemic, most people weren't paying. Right now, today, almost nobody's paying. And whatever they do or don't do, very few people will ever pay again on their federal student loans. And in my humble opinion, nobody should. This is a beast. It's a dying beast, but it's still a dangerous beast. This beast should not be fed. This beast should be taken to the bath and drowned in the tub. So what did you miss, Gordon? Yeah, I tried to play The Who. Won't get fooled again. Whatever. Didn't work out so well. Hey, Terry Dodd's with us tonight. Good evening, Terry. She says, supposedly they're going to make a decision about it. If the pause is going to be extended, whatever, not buying it with a penny. Do those daily actions, people. Thank you, Terry. I think you just said everything I already said. You took the words right out of my mouth, and I couldn't agree with you more. Don't trust the government. Don't be fooled. And I hate to say that. I'm sure the Department of Agriculture does a great job with the farmers. I'm sure the Department of Homeland Security does a great job fighting terrorism. I'm sure the Department of Commerce does a great job doing whatever it is they do. I'm not even sure. Department of the Interior does a great job, whatever they do. Veterans Affairs. Department of Education is captured and corrupted, and it is, quite frankly, a grave danger to this country at this point if it continues to try and inflict this unconstitutional, viciously predatory, catastrophically failed, poisonous lending scam upon us, the people. We do not have to take this shit, ladies and gentlemen, pardon my French. And the founding fathers are on our side. Frankly, I think the founding fathers are looking down and shaking their heads saying, how do our people get so weak? Why would they let themselves be cowed into silence? Why are these people walking around with their tails in between their legs? They need to burn their loan papers and throw the ashes in Boston Harbor or something. Founding fathers are on our side, guys, and we owe it to them to stand up and not take this nonsense. Leslie Fishman says, please, if you can post a link to the interview today. Yeah, we absolutely will, Leslie. This group is my life. Please know I have my hands tied with sending certain messages out in public due to the sensitivity of my employment. I'm off all week and have time to devote. Well, good, Leslie. And, I know it takes a slight amount of courage to stand up and fight for yourself. But ladies and gentlemen, 17 years of experience has taught us that if you assume that somebody else is going to fight for you, it will never happen. It will not ever happen. So Leslie, I applaud you for standing up and joining this fight. And to everybody else out there who thinks they can sit and wait and watch and worry and, eat popcorn and cheerlead, that's not what this battle is. That's what the bad guys want. The bad guys want you being a wallflower. They want you sitting back, waiting, watching, worrying, twiddling your thumbs, or maybe wringing your hands, more like it. They want you reading trash media like Forbes magazine, like almost every mainstream media outlet these days. The swamp is pretty strong, guys. They're not strong. I mean, ultimately, we control this lending system, but yet they have little pockets of strength, and one is with the media. Like if you read student loan articles written these days, probably 90% of them or more are slanted. They're planted and slanted for the student loan swamp. the very heinous, bad people who are making a ton of money off of this loan scam and have secret handshake deals with most of the major media networks, etc. The bad guys want you doing nothing. That's exactly what they want. So this is your life. This is your livelihood. And you need to really think about what's important. And whether you want to live the rest of your life with your tail between your legs, or whether you want to join us and do the right thing, the healthy thing, the good for the country thing, and the good for your emotional and mental health thing, which is helping us fight. It feels good to fight. It's cathartic. We win all of our battles. We've won every single 100% of every battle we've ever fought in. We've won because we have the truth on our side. Speaking of which, if you want to know the truth and you don't know much about student loans, who could blame you if you're new to the group, certainly. But if you want to be a fine, fit, and fierce and feared student loan justice warrior, it starts by learning the truth. So if you go to studentloanjustice.medium.com and you read maybe 5 or 6 of the most recent articles that we have written, take your time, they're quick. We write them for a very broad audience. Read those 6-7 articles and you will be shocked at the truth that you learn. And by the way, we're a very credible source, despite my distressed hat. This is on purpose, by the way. We are a very credible group. We've broken news on 60 Minutes, in the Wall Street Journal, on NPR, in the New York Times, in the Chronicle of Higher Education, Inside Higher Ed. We've broken some of the biggest news stories over the past 2 or 3 decades on the student loan problem. We were the group that broke the news that student loan debt surpassed credit card debt back in 2010. Just one example of dozens. But so we are a very credible group. All of our research is top notch. We are very conservative researchers here. We will only make claims that can be very easily defended by usually nothing more than Department of Education data that anyone can vet for themselves. So we are very safe in that way. By the way, if you want to get one of our hats, these are purposely torn and ripped. You can buy a hat, and I hope that you will do that. You can go to bit.ly/SLJ shirts. Oh, no, sorry, hats. You can we have hats and shirts. Here, grab a hat for you. I'm sorry for this shameless commercial here, guys, but these are limited edition, limited time stuff. And I think we still need to sell like 10 hats in the next week if the hats are going to actually get made and shipped. I think we sold enough shirts. So please do that. And by the way, fundraising is always a pain in the ass for us. We only have to raise a few $1,000s a month to, literally keep our lights on and stuff like that. But it's so difficult. So if you could donate just more generally, that would be very, very, very helpful, very useful, very needed. By the way, thanks to everybody who's been pitching in lately. The lights are still on, so good for us. So we are a very credible group. You can become a very intelligent, well-armed warrior for student loan justice by simply going to our studentloanjustice.medium.com place, reading those articles, and you can help. Hey, Leslie also says, Loom going, I am going to slam everyone tomorrow within my scope and range. I love it. We are a fighting group, guys. I'm telling you, this is a battle. And whether you fight it or not, you're in the battle. And if you're not fighting it, you're losing it. So just remember that. Terry Dodd says, I'm going to do as much as I can since I just had a death in the family. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Terry. I'm really sorry to hear that. Hope that all turns out. And prayers go out to your family member. Hey, Lisa Ansell just posted the link to the video, so you can see the link to the video here if you're watching us on Facebook. And I will try and post that on Twitter and on YouTube as well. Hey, Martha Monroe's with us tonight. Hey, Martha. I will do mine. Takes 10 minutes. Come on, everyone, Martha says. And need I remind you guys, maybe you know, maybe you don't know, Martha is confined to a wheelchair. Martha can't really speak on her own, is on a feeding tube. Martha, despite her massive challenges with ALS, Martha finds a way to do our daily actions nearly every day. Martha, we love you. We salute you. Martha doesn't make excuses. She just gets it done. Let that be inspiration and encouragement to you. Lisa Unsell says, please do the daily actions. Everyone, I can't imagine what I would do with myself if we lose this battle. I don't even want to go there, guys. Lisa, we're so close. We're so close. We've never been closer. In the 17-year history of this group, I can taste it. I can see it. I can smell it. I can feel it. We're close. And what more can I say? I would get on my knees and beg you to do the daily actions, but really, guys, do I really have to do that? Do I really have to beg you to fight this battle, which is your battle? You can't count on anybody else to pull your weight for you. You got to put your own work in on this block. I know there are other fake groups out there saying they're fighting for whatever, student cancellation, whatever. They never ask you to do anything. They never ask you to do any real actions. They just sit there. And quite frankly, at least one, in fact, two of those groups, we have found to have some very suspicious connections with our opposition. It's called AstroTurf. And you know what? I'm not going to go off on a rant on that because I'm trying to keep it positive tonight. But suffice it to say, guys, anybody who tells you to just sit back and relax and watch them fight, they're not actually fighting. And they are conning you into inaction, which is what our opposition wants. Don't give them the pleasure. This is a fight. This is a very real battle. And if you don't help us fight, you're not going to like the outcome. So let me just leave it at that. Hey, Jacques, fierce fighter, by the way. I've seen Jacques just tearing it up on Twitter lately. The bottom line is we are fighting illegal lending. You're right, Jacques. It is illegal. It's absolutely illegal. It's unconstitutional. That's the most illegal you can possibly be, right? All of our law flows from the U.S. Constitution. Founding fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws in the Constitution. Founders also called for due process, and even more importantly, they called for equal protection under the law in the Bill of Rights. They also abolished, I'm not going to say slavery, they abolished, I just said slavery, sorry about that. They just the founders also abolished indentured servitude in Article 13 of the Bill of Rights. And this student loan scam, for all intents and purposes, has become modern day indentured servitude. So on many different constitutional grounds, this lending scam is absolutely illegal. Lisa agrees with Jacques. But Leslie says, how the hell are loans transferred to Mohila, which has deep ties to SoFi? Like I said, Leslie, it's the Wild West right now. This lending system is disintegrating. Loans are being shuffled from servicer to servicer. The biggest servicers are pulling out of the entire program, like Navient and Fed Loan Servicings, aka FIA. It's like the student loan system is the house in the tornado in the Wizard of Oz. Like, open the door and hey, a cow comes flying by. Like, that's kind of where we're at, guys. It's silly season. Student loans are vanishing, albeit they're vanishing. It's dying a very slow death. We could have a good ending, which is the path that this group is on. We could have a very terrible ending, which is a years-long, painful, socially, civilly unrestful, very damaging unwinding. We don't want that second thing, guys. We want the first thing. That's why this group right here is so important. And just to put one final point on it, it all comes down to bankruptcy, guys. It really does. It comes down to getting the constitutional right of bankruptcy returned to us, whether you would ever or never file. Frankly, very few people, in fact, maybe even no one, should actually have to file when we get the right return. Just having the leverage of bankruptcy is what lies at the very cornerstone of this whole entire loan scam that has maybe wrecked your life, maybe is poised to wreck your life. So Just remember that, guys. It's hard to fight for bankruptcy. You have no idea how hard it is. Nobody wants to stand up and shake their fist in the streets like, "Oh, we demand bankruptcy rights." That's like, it's the perfect con, right? The people who arranged this scam against us, they thought very hard and deep about it, and they really did a great job. And it's, quite frankly, I think they're pinching themselves, though, at how far they've managed to perpetuate this scam. Like, all the bad guys knew that the jig would be up at some point. And quite frankly, I think we're like 10, if not 15 years past the point where the bad guys were like, okay, jig's up. Let's, put on our golden parachute and get the fuck out of here because we just pulled one over on this country. I think we're 10 to 15 years past that point. Like, that's how well crafted and cleverly devised and implemented this scam was. But I'm here to tell you right now, here tonight, guys, you should be talking about federal student loans, certainly in the past tense. And you should be helping us fight by doing what? By doing our daily actions. Like, that's the minimum that you could do. The minimum that you could be doing is our daily actions. If, we're all smart on this group, you can do far more than our daily actions. You have very unique talent, skills, intelligence, networks, and ideas that you can think of on your own to help us in this fight. It only takes one person to convince, let's say, a Republican governor, like, I don't know, Ron DeSantis, maybe, Greg Abbott in Texas, any number of Republican governors whose states are being absolutely wrecked by student loan debt. That would be the entire South, by the way. So pick any of those states. Chances are they have a Republican governor. You could be the one person that convinces that governor to look at the numbers. Like Texas, for example, state budget is $121 billion, I think. The people of Texas owe $141 billion. Look at Florida. People of Florida owe $120 billion in federal student loan and federal and private student loan debt. That's enough to buy Disney World. Like, depending on how you count value Disney World, the assessed value of Disney World is $2 billion. So with all the student loan debt in Florida, you could buy Disney World, like, what's that, 50, 70, 75 times or something? No, 60 times. You could be the one person that convinces a Governor Ron DeSantis, Governor Greg Abbott, Governor Jim Sununu in in New Hampshire, Kristi Neem, South Dakota. All of those states I just mentioned, student loan debt exceeds their state budgets. So all of those governors, if they look at the numbers and see how badly their state is being wrecked, they should be on our side. They should be calling on the president to cancel these stupid loans. You could be the one person that makes that happen. So think about that. You have no idea how important you are. No idea how important you are. In the words of famous fictional hero John Connors from Terminator fame, you have no idea how important you are, and how true that is. Okay, guys, it doesn't look like I'm going to have to be, I'm not going to have time to get through all the comments tonight. I apologize in advance. But get ready, guys. This week could mean everything, certainly for getting bankruptcy rights back through the Department of Education. Stop not opposing student loan borrowers is a huge thing. It's a huge thing, whether you would ever or never file for bankruptcy. So get ready tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Check back on our group on Facebook, on our website, studentloanjustice.org, or if you get our daily emails as well. So let's make this happen, guys. Let's make it happen. And think out of the box. Do way more stuff than I just said. You're creative. You're clever. You can do stuff on your own. Be an army of one if you want. Or maybe get with your state chapter group, which, again, you can do at the website, studentloanjustice.org. And so with that, I'm going to wish you all a great night. I'll be here again tomorrow evening. Let's see what tomorrow brings us, and let's get ready to really turn this thing on, guys. I'm excited. I hope you are too. So good luck in your efforts. Godspeed, everyone. God bless.